Hello, hello, and welcome back to Temptations Ballad. We're still at Sid's place. That's pretty cool. I like Sid's family. They're cute. uh, oh Jesus Christ. Ilya Plumage. What? Droops as she stares at Artemi silently for a moment. She then hastily leans across the table to refill Artemi's tea and filled her plate with more bread. Are all families like this? I'd hope so. Though I know firsthand that this is not always the case. Is everything alright, dear? Artemi, took her teacup and stared into the steaming contents quietly. I confess that I recently got into an argument with my own mother, and might be projecting somewhat. We were rarely on good terms, but today I lost my temper and actually yelled back at her. The aghast horror she felt in the moment in the outdoor cafe was overwhelming. Artemi sighed and took a deep sip of her tea. I've been failing nonstop in my duties lately, and now I'm afraid I just added fuel to the fire. Ilya stared at Artemi in bewilderment for a solid minute before bursting out in a fit of laughter. You're stressed out because you're talked back to your mother for the first time? Oh, on my goodness, dear. You are truly too sweet for this cruel world. When I was your age, my mother and I were constantly at each other's throats, and my sister was much worse. Actually, you're what, 20 years old? I think we had already ran away from home at that point. You and your sister ran away from home? Yes. And then we stole a boat and sailed as far as the sea would take us. Ilya smiled nostalgically and sighed. Listen to me, dear girl. Having the strength to stand up for yourself is a trait you should be immensely proud of. I know in our youths, we always imagine our parents as these perfect people who automatically knew what's best for you. Utter hogwash. If I have learned anything from my time as both mother and daughter, it is that I know absolutely nothing, and neither does anyone else. But you're a mother yourself. Surely you'd prefer your children to obey. Ilya snorted humorously. Would I prefer Sid to take on a safer job? Of course. But I also want my son to be happy. I want him to feel safe enough to speak his own mind when something is bothering him. So when he told me he wanted to become an adventurer, I adjusted my expectations. A family is a conversation, dear. If all you do is order your children around, you're just an awful cattle driver who will end up dying alone one day. Just like my mother. Artemi just gaped, her mind swimming aimlessly. Oh, apologies. That came out more forceful than I intended. She sat down next to Artemi and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Across Ilya's aged face, wrinkles with many years of history, was a soft, sympathetic smile. I understand that guilt you must be feeling. But please remember that you deserve to be happy, and there is no shame in standing up for yourself in defense of that happiness. I see. Thank you, Miss Shriekwood. You have given me much to think about. Artemi cleared her throat. Her ears drooped timidly as she smiled up at Ilya. Say, apologies if I am being too forward yet again, but would it be alright if I came to the Sparrow Roost again in the future? Your wise words are quite comforting. Ilya laughed kindly. Of course. Any friend of Sid is welcome under my roof. I look forward to speaking with you again, dear. As the party cheerfully continued wolfing down their food, Ilya made certain to speak to each of them privately. Now, who should she talk to first? So, bardic magic. How exactly does it work? Ilya had ushered Cole aside to a table lined with several glass bottles. The old bird's eyes beamed with enthusiasm. She was clearly thrilled to pass on her magical skills to a youngster. Cole couldn't help but smile reluctantly. A chance to be openly excited about magic. It was a nice feeling. See here, Cole. Bards are a peculiar class of magic users. We are not as flashy as those fireball-shooting wizards, nor are we as supportive as clerics with their healing spells. Our greatest strength is with our cunning minds and subtle misdirection. Ilya clapped her hands together with a sly grin. Young man, I'm about to teach you the most useful spell in a bard's arsenal. Mage Hand. Cole squinted, unimpressed. Isn't that just a weak cantrip that moves stuff around? Indeed. Yet, with a bit of creativity, this spell can easily save lives in turn battles. It's also very useful for cleaning up the kitchen and for other chores. The possibilities are endless. Ilya's voice suddenly dipped dangerously low. Many years ago, I spotted a gang of neighborhood hooligans bullying my young son. He had just a he was just a wee child then. With the power of Mage Hand, I invisibly bitch-slapped those suckers from 30 feet away. Repeatedly. Run as they might, those hooligans never escaped my grasp. And thus, the legend of bitch-slapping ghosts persists among the Market District children to this day. You beat up a bunch of kids? Listen, dearie. You don't fuck with my son. I am fully prepared to throw hands with a child if I must. Yeah, I mean, I would never do anything that put Sid in danger. I'm just that kind of responsible boss. Cole gulped. Anyway, how does Mage Hand work? Ilya gestured towards the kitchen table with that was lined with the bottles. Imagine within your mind the shape of a hand. Now, reach out with your arcane magic and imagine that hand grasping one of those bottles. Ilya flicked out her hands in demonstration. Soundlessly, one of the bottles began floating in the air, as though lifted by an invisible force. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Keep in mind, dear, that Mage Hand is still a rather weak cantrip and can only lift about 5 pounds. Why don't you give it a try? Cole stepped forward, clutching and unclutching his hands self-consciously. Okay, just reach out with my mind, right? I got this. Cole raises an open palm and furrowed his brows. Whiffs of magic flickered from his hands as he concentrated on the bottles on the table. One of the bottles abruptly toppled over and spilled cider onto the kitchen floor in a waterfall of ale. I did it! Kinda. Oh, sorry for the mess, Miss Shriekwood. Excellent job for your first attempt, dearie. Don't even worry about it. Just keep practicing, and you'll get the hang of it in no time. Ilya magically vanished and cleaned up the spill with a dismissive wave of her hand. Nicole watched her casual spellcasting with fascination. Whoa, that's so cool. Sure wish we could magically clean stuff back home. This would be useful at the bar. And the supply closets. I'm sure I could teach you that as well, young man. Cleaning objects is one of the functions of prestidigitation. No, it's not that. It's just, my papa's got a really traditional mindset about magic. He's always going on about how magic is for the weak, and all that jazz. Ilya raised her brow with a hint of amusement. Well, that's utter hogwash. Magic is part of you, that must be trained and mastered, just like those muscles your father is so proud of. You owe it to yourself to nurture your strengths, dear. Would you like me to give your father a firm talk? I can be quite persuasive. Cole almost snorted, and out a laugh before, disguising it as a cough. You? Against my papa? He eyed the tiny woman doubtfully. Ilya laughed and puffed up her feathers proudly. Oh, don't you worry about me, lad. I'm not afraid of a few, buff men. I deal with worse every night within this very tavern. I'll, give it some thought. Thanks, Miss Freakwood. Would you mind if I, drop by occasionally for more magic lessons? Friends of my little Sid are always welcome here. Oh, I can't wait to teach you all the tricks I've learned in my youth. We bards ought to stick together. Cole nodded eagerly. A place where he could, be openly excited about magic. He felt a, surprising amount of weight lift off his shoulders at the mere thought of it. As the party cheerfully continued wolfing down their food, Ilya made certain oh yes, okay. Sid, dear? Yeah, Mom? Ilya smiled gently as she pulled Sid aside. Dear, I just wanted to tell you that I am very proud of your decision to become an adventurer. I'd like to apologize if I had been too discouraging before. I'm just very worried about you. But now that I know that you're in capable hands, I can worry a little less. Slightly less. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm still worried out of my mind, but you must keep doing what makes you feel happy. Oh, thanks, Mom. You really don't need to fuss so much, though. I mean, I've got the greatest chosen, and the son of the world's greatest mercenary on my team. I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. You're right. I just can't help but worry, you know. I am your mother, after all. But yes, you've done a great job in choosing your companions. Ilya's worried frown suddenly melted into a teasing smile. By the way, you're still very young. Why not? Oh, Mom, please don't give me the grandchildren talk now. Why, of course not. Whether or not you have children is solely your decision. But I'm just saying, you should take advantage of your youth while you've got it. Your new companions seem like good stock. Get out there, go on some dates, and experience some new things. Mom, don't make this weird. We just met yesterday. Plus, Artemi's a knight of the church. I'm pretty sure she's got an oath of, Faku. Celibacy? Faku. Or something. What about Cole? He seems like a charming young man. What? No! Why would I ever be into Cole? I'm not gay. Ilya squinted doubtfully. You spent your entire childhood prattling on about that really buff and attractive mercenary man. That doesn't count. Really? You spent an awful amount of time fantasizing about that man's chest muscles, though. I'm serious, Mom. I'm 100% sure. I'm not gay. That'd be really weird. Yeah. Say it louder. I'm sure you'll convince someone eventually. Again, I do not understand what is preventing you from being happy. Shut it, Artie. Let them talk. Ilya's brows furrowed with concern. Why are you getting so worked up about this? Sid, I hope your father and I never gave you the impression that we disapprove. You're free to love whomever you choose.
Really? I always thought...
Sid, when did this come about? If there's something bothering you, let me know.
Well,
Sid fidgeted uncomfortably.
Do you remember that prestigious academy that you sent me to when I was younger? You know, the one where you and Dad spent all your savings to pay for the tuition? And I ended up sucking really bad, and the kids and the school kicked me out.
A deathly glare washed over Ilya's face. Yes. Those teachers had a gall to claim you lacked any intellectual merit. The nerve. Why I ought to go back and give them a piece of my mind.
No, this isn't about the teachers.
Sid scratched his head awkwardly.
During my time there, the students kind of picked on me a lot. Specifically for crushing on the guys there. Not that I actually did, of course. I guess I just gave off that impression.
A heartbroken look fell over Ilya's face as she clutched her chest. Oh, Sid, why didn't you tell us about this?
Well, I mean, I completely wasted you and Dad's life savings from getting expelled. I didn't want to disappoint you guys even more.
Ilya smiled and rested a warm hand on her son's shoulder. Dear, you are never a disappointment. Please, whatever you choose to do, you have my full support, be it in matters of career or love. If you like this Cole fellow, go for it. Though you might want to keep on your toes, bards tend to be prickly when you least expect it.
You mean like physically prickly, or?
Oh, no. It's a metaphor, dear. Although, I once knew this bard who cast polymorph incorrectly and... Oh, never mind. That's highly inappropriate. Ilya cleared her throat loudly. Now then, let us focus on a more important topic. Ilya smiled as she casually reached for a bottle on the kitchen table. Okay. A glass shattered across the room as an utterly feral rage overtook her. Who hurt you? These classmates of yours. I want names and addresses.
Mom, please! You can't pick fights with these people.
Oh, don't worry about your old mom. I've killed a man or two back in my day.
What? Please calm down. It was just some light bullying.
Which is why we can't let them off the hook. What kind of message does that send? Bullying's okay so long as you don't get caught? Yes. I ain't having it. Mild panic flooded through Sid's chest as he tried to ease his mother back into her seat.
Sure, maybe. But you don't have to be the person to do this.
I have the advantage here. Either I kick the shit out of them, or they have to suffer through the social scrutiny of fighting an old lady. It's a win-win, baby. Artemi chipped in from across the room. Are we riding into battle? If so, you have my full support, Miss Shriekwood.
Count me in, too. I kinda just want to see where this goes. Don't enable this! Everyone sit back down!
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I think I'll end the part there. That sounds good. We're almost at 20 minutes, guys. It's fine. I'll see you around.